Matthew Ashford legend. John Black will never return and Marlena will never love again in a deeply moving and personal revelation. Days of Our Lives actor Matthew Ashford has shared the heartfelt final wishes of his longtime friend and co-star, Drake Hogestyn, the man behind the unforgettable John Black. According to Ashford, Hogestyn made one thing perfectly clear before his passing: John Black should never be recast. The role, shaped and defined by Hogestyn's strength, charm, and complexity for decades, would end with him. It was his final act of devotion to the character and to the millions of fans who loved him. Equally powerful was Hogestyn's request regarding Marlena Evans, John's enduring love. Ashford confirmed that Marlena will not fall in love again. No second great romance, no rewritten storylines. Just the memory of a love so singular, so irreplaceable, that it stands frozen in time. For Ashford and for the world of Days, these weren't just story decisions. They were part of Hogestyn's emotional testament, his last will to the show, his friends, and his fans. In the world of daytime television, few names carry the weight and reverence of Drake Hogestyn. For decades, Hogestyn portrayed the iconic John Black on Days of Our Lives, a character who became more than just a role. He became a symbol of resilience, mystery, romance, and heroism to millions of viewers. But beyond the scenes and scripts, there was a man, strong, private, and enduring, who gave everything to his craft, even as his life quietly neared its end. Now, fellow Days veteran Matthew Ashford, best known as Jack Devereaux, is speaking publicly for the first time in emotional, candid detail about Hogestyn's final days, his battle with pancreatic cancer, and the legacy he left behind not just on screen but in the hearts of those who knew him best. Swing for the fences. The words of a fighter, swing for the fences. It was more than a phrase. It was a mantra. Drake Hogestyn said it often on set. For those unfamiliar, it's a baseball term, one that refers to going all in, aiming for the biggest hit. It made sense. Before he ever became a daytime superstar, Hogestyn played professional baseball. Even after that dream ended, his competitive spirit and discipline remained intact. Matthew Ashford remembers that phrase vividly. Drake motivated us all, he recalled. He brought this athlete's focus to everything he did. Every scene, every storyline, every challenge. He treated it like a game to be won. But behind that drive was also quiet courage. Few knew how sick Hogestyn had become in his final year. Fewer still understood just how much effort he put into keeping the spotlight on the character, not the man. Ashford was one of the few insiders who knew early on that Hogestyn was battling pancreatic cancer, and he reveals that the actor made a bold and heartbreaking decision in the months before his death. John Black would never be recast. A legacy sealed with integrity, he told the producers, and he told me he didn't want John Black to go on if he couldn't play him, Ashford said. That was part of his last will and testament to the show. It wasn't written on paper, but it was crystal clear. Let him go with me. That was his message. In a business where beloved characters often live on through multiple actors, Hogestyn's request was monumental. Producers agreed. John Black, the hero with a mysterious past and a heart of gold, would not return after Hogestyn's departure. His jersey, metaphorically speaking, would be retired. It's like a baseball legend hanging up his jersey for the last time, Ashford explained, and not letting anyone else ever wear it again. That was Drake's John Black, and it will always be his. Behind the scenes, knowing the end was near, Ashford, who had many scenes with Hogestyn during those final months, said there was a quiet understanding among some of the cast that the end was drawing near. One moment that stands out in his memory occurred during a scene where John Black had been kidnapped and tied up. There was a realism in Drake's performance that day that felt different. It wasn't acting. He looked physically spent, Ashford recalled, his voice thick with emotion. And that's when I knew. He was doing everything he could to finish what he started. He was being a hero not just on the page, but in real life. He wanted to give fans closure. That scene, now considered one of the most poignant in recent Days history, carried a weight viewers couldn't fully understand until now. Marlena's lonely goodbye. And what of Marlena? The ever-steady partner to John Black, whose love story with him spanned decades of soap opera history. Ashford said that part of Hogestyn's request for John's exit included one painful narrative beat: Marlena would not love again. She doesn't fall for anyone else, he said. Not out of bitterness or sadness, but because the kind of love she had with John doesn't come twice in a lifetime. Marlena's character, portrayed by Deidre Hall, will remain a central figure in the Days universe. But her heart, viewers will come to understand, left with John. It was another way the show honored Hogestyn's wishes. No new love triangle, no replacement, no rewriting of history. Just silence, reverence, and memory. A goodbye worthy of a legend. Ashford grew reflective as he spoke about the final farewell episode. I've read a lot of scripts, but that one, it was something else. There were lines there that were really for Drake, not just for John. It was our way of saying goodbye to both. Behind the scenes, the final weeks were emotionally taxing. Cast members came and went with subdued faces. Hugs lingered longer. Conversations dipped into the personal. It was like watching a ship sail off slowly into the distance, Ashford said. You know it's going and you know it's not coming back, but it still breaks your heart when it disappears. And yet, he insisted, there was no sadness in how Hogestyn went out. There was strength. There was choice. He had control over the end of his story, and how many of us get that? No recast, no rewrite, just respect. Ashford has no doubt that Hogestyn's wishes will be respected for years to come. The Days producers have confirmed privately that the character of John Black is permanently retired. It's not up for debate, Ashford stated firmly. Drake made his wishes clear, and the show is honoring that. And fans? They wouldn't accept anyone else anyway. Indeed, the reaction from longtime viewers has been profound. Social media tributes have poured in, not just from fans, but from former cast members, writers, and producers. Many noted that Hogestyn's legacy is one of rare consistency and devotion, traits not often associated with the fluid, ever-changing world of daytime television. Remembering a giant as our conversation drew to a close, Ashford paused to consider what Drake Hogestyn would want to be remembered for. Not just the action sequences, or the plot twists, or the romance, he said thoughtfully, but for being solid, for being a rock for this show, for being kind, for being dependable, for never letting go of that baseball spirit that said, swing for the fences, even when you know the game's almost over. That, perhaps, is the truest legacy of John Black, and the man who brought him to life. Rest in peace, Drake Hogestyn. Your number has been retired, your character immortalized, and your courage remembered. **** Next. Hope's heartfelt truth, a picnic, a revelation, and Bo's desperate need to say goodbye to John Black. It was supposed to be a quiet, healing moment. A peaceful interlude between a husband and wife after a whirlwind of chaos, danger, and near tragedy. But for Days of Our Lives fans, the emotional outdoor scene between Bo and Hope Brady has quickly become one of the most poignant and heartbreaking in recent memory. The scene begins tenderly. Bo, still in his hospital gown and robe, sits in a wheelchair as Hope gently pushes him along a winding path under the early afternoon sun. There's a picnic blanket laid out, a soft breeze blowing, and for a moment it almost feels like the world is returning to normal. Bo looks around, a faint smile touching his lips, and Hope, curious but cautious, asks, "What is all this?" Bo explains simply, "It's a thank you. A gesture of love and appreciation for everything she's done for him. I couldn't have made it through without you," he says with sincerity. He even admits he had a little help putting the picnic together. Their daughter Ciara and Bo's other daughter, Chelsea, helped him plan the outing. That revelation touches Hope, but her joy is short-lived. Her face changes. The laughter fades. There's something on her mind, something heavy, and Bo sees it. He leans forward, even in his weakened state, and gently urges her to tell him what's wrong. At first, Hope tries to deflect. She fusses with the blanket, avoids his eyes, but Bo knows her too well. He presses again, more firmly, and finally, with a trembling voice and tears threatening to fall, Hope tells him the truth. John is gone. Bo freezes. He's stunned. Disbelieving, his best friend. His brother in arms, John Black, has died, and Bo had no idea. Hope continues quietly, gently explaining that John died saving him. In a final act of courage and selflessness, John risked his life to ensure Bo's survival. And now today, they are holding the funeral. There is a long silence as Bo processes the weight of this news. Then his eyes flash with urgency. Emotion surges through him. "Hope," he says, his voice cracking, "I have to be there." Hope shakes her head. "You're not ready." "I have to be there," Bo repeats, louder now. "For John. For his family. He died for me, I have to say goodbye." Back in his hospital room, a doctor enters to perform a checkup. Bo, emotional but trying to remain composed, asks whether he's medically cleared to leave. You're technically stable, the doctor admits, but your body's still recovering. Leaving now is not advised. You could relapse. Bo listens, but he's already made up his mind. The moment the doctor exits, he turns to Hope, pleading. His fists clench, his voice lowers. Please. I need to go. But Hope, as much as she understands his pain, refuses to let her husband throw away the life John gave him. You almost died, Bo. I just got you back. I can't lose you again, not now, not like this. He tries again, but she's firm. She knows grief. She knows loss. But she also knows Bo. If he pushes too far, he might not come back from it this time. We need to be smart, she tells him, holding his hands tightly in hers. We need to be safe. There's no anger between them. Only heartache. Bo's grief is raw. His fists are clenched not out of rage, but helplessness. He wants to run to the church, to be with John's family, to thank him one last time. But his body won't let him. And Hope can't let him. The camera lingers on Bo's face, his eyes misty, his jaw tight, and on Hope's trembling fingers brushing his hair back. A love tested by time, by danger, by death. Now it must hold steady through one more trial, the grief of saying goodbye.